My mom insisting on me getting a life insurance before I travel. She kept telling me, you need to get a life insurance. You know, moms are going to be moms. She was just like, I really feel like you need to get it. And she kept pushing for it. And I felt like it was the weirdest thing.
Butterflies winging it.
Hello, my butterflies. My name is Diane. And as a lot of you may already know, I was in a coma in a foreign country, precisely the DR, the Dominican Republic. It was towards the end of 2018. To start, things were just really weird. I was supposed to travel with my aunt, but then for some reason, she just couldn't. And she told me that maybe we didn't have to anymore. Maybe we could just do it in the future. We don't have to do it just right away. But I was already firmly, I was ready to go. So there was no change in plans at the last minute. My husband was not really keen on the idea of me traveling by myself. I remember that day I was just going to pick up my passport when she called and she said that she wasn't going to be able to make it. And I'm just like, oh man, I've already planned all of this. I'm not canceling right now. From there, everything was just weird. So and my mom, I remember before I left, like a week or so before I left, we were talking a lot about me traveling, going to another country and, getting all those procedures. You can know more, or you know more about my story if you don't know what I'm talking about. You can go and watch prior videos that I've made and you'll get more of a sense of what this is about, because there's going to be a lot more of this. Yeah. So I remember my mom insisting on me getting a life insurance before I travel. She kept telling me, you need to get a life insurance. Moms are going to be moms. She was just like, I really feel like you need to get it. And she kept pushing for it. And I felt like it was the weirdest thing. I'm traveling, you're telling me to get a life insurance. I'm very healthy right now. I've done so many tests. I know I'm fine. Like, I am really at my best right now. There's like, how can you ask me to get a life insurance? You've never asked me this. Why now? I believe that something's going to happen out there. If I get a life insurance now, it's as if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for me to get a life insurance. I'm not getting one. It's as if when I sign those papers, you'd be like, I'm signing my life over to, I don't know, whomever. I don't know. That's just how it felt. It felt like she was asking me to do this because something was going to happen. And she just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I kept refusing and refusing and refusing to get this life insurance. So moving forward, they have to bring my body back from the DR, although my heart kept stopping, and they actually took me to a hospital. I was fighting to come back. Yeah, so they bringing my body back in Miami, Florida. It seemed to be the closest place, and it was easier because I was not going to be able to handle a long trip back home. So they taking me to Miami, Florida. Moving forward, I wake up from this coma, right? I'm waking up from this coma. I was just tired of the nurse at this point because I keep telling her, get this out of my mouth. I need this out of my mouth. I need to speak. I need to talk. Like, what's going on? I was really adamant about wanting to speak. And at some point, she has my husband come in, and he comes in and he seems so excited. And he's like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy that you're awake. We thought we were going to lose you. And I'm just like, my brain was just not there yet. Like I said earlier, he's like, we thought we were going to lose you. You gave us the scare of our lives. And still not believe what has happened to you. It's just like, we don't even understand what happened. And I'm looking at him, and of course I cannot speak. So I'm looking at him like, what is going on? What is he even talking about? And then he seems there's just something about it. And I'm just like, is he, because of, what I've gone through? And I'm like,
is he reading a script?
I'm thinking, this guy was trying to kill me. Why is he acting? Like, why is it so fake? He's right now telling me that I almost died, and he's being so fake. Just the way I was looking at things at the time, right? I'm just like, why is he being so fake? And he's telling me so much. He's talking about a lot of things. He's telling me how happy he is. And, and in my mind, I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, this guy wanted me to die. Why? What have I done to him? I'm sure he wanted my life insurance. That's what it is. That's a life insurance thing. He wanted me to die so he could get my life insurance. Like, literally, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking my husband wanted me to die so that he could get my life insurance, because he felt like he was acting. I'm just like, he is acting. This is all a movie. This is fake. He wanted me dead. It's obvious. It is so obvious. He doesn't even know how to act. In my mind, I'm just going back and I'm just like, oops, I don't have a life insurance. I don't only not have a life insurance, I do not have a life insurance, okay? And also, I am broke. So it's not because I have so much money that he wants me to die. So there's got to be another reason. There's got to be something else, because it is obvious that that's a movie. Like, it's obvious that he's acting. It's obvious that he's reading from a script, but except I cannot see the script. It is obvious that he's using words that he's used in the past, and he's just reading. I don't know. To me, the thing, I'm picking up the fact that he's reading, and it bothers me that he is so scripted. And then I'm like, okay, if I don't have a life insurance, if I'm not rich, I'm broke. We didn't have issues. We're not fighting. When I was leaving for the GR, he was really sad. He really didn't want me to go. There was something. He just felt like, no, I shouldn't go. Till I left, to get on that plane, he was really adamant about the fact that he didn't want me to leave. So there were so many signs. There were so many things there. But I still was determined to go and get it done. I was determined to change my life. There was just a lot of determination. I was just like, no, I'm gonna go. Like, no one is going to stop me. I am going. So I'm just thinking, from the beginning, he never wanted me to go. He never wanted me to do this. So this has absolutely nothing to do with him. It is not him. I am thinking, okay, since it is so scripted, we have to be in a soap opera. Oh, I'm just like, oh my goodness, not a soap opera. How did he get me to be in a soap opera? Like, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of a movie. And I'm like, well, maybe I do. Maybe I do want to be part of this. With everything, like I said, I still couldn't speak. So I'm just in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. My mom was there. They all flew to Miami, Florida. They were all there waiting to get something, just something. So he told me, wait a second, I'm gonna go talk. I'm gonna go talk to them. I'm gonna go tell them that you're okay, you're here, you're not going anywhere and stuff. And I shook my head. I was like, okay, So he left, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, wow. So he got us into a movie, and then I'm thinking, oh no, he got us into a soap opera. And I've always said that I hated soap operas because they are so scripted. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, oh, not a soap opera. But then I was like, this is fine, Diane. This is fine as long as we are getting paid good money. So he's gotten me a really good role, because I was set on the fact that this couldn't be possibly real. Okay, so I'm just thinking, this is okay. I know he's negotiated well, and that we're gonna be paid good money. Because if you're not getting paid good money, I'm signing out. I do not want to be part of this. Then I just, I was just mostly observing. Everything was so perfect. It was so nice. The hospital I was in seemed to be very prestigious, very nice place. The setting was amazing. It almost looked perfect. So it made me believe even more it had to be a soap opera, because it really looked like one of those soap operas where they are in like a hospital, and everything is happening in the hospital. There's so much going on in the hospital. So they get me out of the room. When finally I forced them to get the machine, I was almost cursing them out. I'm not somebody that curses. Cursing is okay, but it's just not my thing. But I was just like telling this girl, poor girl, I am so sorry. If you ever watch this, understand that I'm so sorry. I was just tired of having this thing in my mouth. So I was just like, can we? And then I was kind of cursing using my fingers. I was doing things with my fingers to get her to get the machine off of my mouth. It was actually very wrong, because I probably should have waited. The person who finally came in, because I was rushing her to get it out of my mouth, the person that came and did it wasn't really trained to do it. The person that was actually trained to do this job wasn't in yet, and I was probably going to have to wait for a couple of hours, and I really didn't want to wait. For my gestures, I know she knew I didn't want to wait. So she brought this guy, and this guy kept saying that, oh, you know what, this is not really something that I do, but I'm going to try to get it out of her mouth. And I mean, literally, my mouth exploded. He did something. I don't know how to get it out. I probably should watch a video about it. I just heard an explosion in my mouth. And I was already in so much pain. I was already in intense pain. that is really not what I needed. So he gets this out of my mouth, and literally even him and the nurse, he was probably another nurse. I'm looking. He was definitely not the doctor. He probably was. I think he was one of the nurses. I see. I'm looking at them, and they are. It's like a movie. I'm still seeing them like a movie. I still cannot process everything. I still cannot understand everything that took place. My husband didn't give me enough information, so I'm still very, very, very confused, which I was probably for a whole year or even more. I was confused for a long, long time, and during this long, long time, I often thought that I was losing my mind. I was always on the verge of becoming becoming crazy. There was a lot of information, but I think if it had happened, it was probably because it was right timing for me, or sometimes I feel like it happened probably a little later. It could have happened earlier. But yeah, so I had to be kind of ready for this, but it was a lot. So I'm watching him, he's getting that machine out of my mouth, and he's saying that he doesn't really know how to work it, but yet he does it because I'm pushing to get it out. It was really a big mistake because, like I said, my mouth was a big, big mess after he got it out. And it's funny because I now later on my mom told me that I had it many times because when the helicopter that came to pick me up they changed their mind, so they had put that machine and they removed it, and then the next one that came over, so my body went through a lot of trauma, lots and lots of stuff. When I was aware, when I was conscious, and when I was really not, my body was going through a lot. They're taking care of me, and the doctor comes and he tells me, that I have lost my kidneys, and which is unbelievable. It's just like he's telling me that all of my organs are really, they need a lot of work, that I'm going to need a lot of time to heal. I'm going to need I'm going to need lots of care, that the doctor tells me that I'm in really, really bad shape. And it sounded very horrible because it was just like I was watching. At the same time, it was almost like I was watching somebody else experiencing this. Okay, it's just like, when I went, I was in one place, and now it seems like I'm in many, many different places in different places. So I'm watching all this like it's a movie, and all those nurses, the nurses come in and they look so beautiful. Like I said, it was a very nice hospital, and I was on the first floor of the hospital, and I was told that floor wasn't for just everybody. You had to be in really, really bad shape to be put in that floor, or you had to be like a big time someone, like you had to have a star or whatever. It was a very, very neatly done place, very perfect. Like I said, it was a beautiful, beautiful place. Everything looked new, and the nurses working there, doctors, they look like in the movies. But I have to admit that everything was, when I just got out of my coma, I had to say that everything was more vibrant. Everything was just more colorful. And when the nurses were coming to me, they'll call, like, if they wanted to pick me up, to lift me up. And I was, by the way, because my kidneys were not functioning, although I was getting cleaned and stuff, I was getting my blood clean, I was still filled with fluids. I was really, really big, and I remember they needed to change me. And so they picked me. When the nurses came in, beautiful nurses, and they smelled so good, but for some reason it was just whatever, all the perfume and stuff was just too much. It was just too much for me, and they put so much stuff on their body. Coming there, everything was just too much. Everything seemed to be just amplified. The way I was seeing things was amplified. Everything seemed to be just way too much for me to handle. And so they come in, and it's really like in the movies. They look so preppy, so perfect, and the way they call on the help. I remember at some point they called the security guy, and he came, and I'm watching all of them with this other security lady and somebody else, because they were trying to lift me up to change me. And I look at them, they're talking to me, they are in my face, and like I say again, I'm just like, oh, this is a movie. I can't handle all this. This is a soap opera, and they're talking to me. Everything looks so perfect. They look beautiful, just very nice, very caring. It's like they're writing notes, and they're looking at me, they're asking me questions. and it's just as if I'm seated on a seat where I'm just like in the audience, like yet I'm in this body, but yet I'm in the audience. I'm just watching all of this happen, and I'm just like, like, what? It's like I'm losing. I'm just like, this is all a movie. Like, I have been taking this life so seriously, and it's literally a movie. It was really unbelievable. I finally got to see my mom and my aunts, and they were so happy to see me. They're talking to me, and I'm telling them that, oh wow, you guys will not believe this. I was actually with my dad, and I asked my mom for how long was I gone for. She's like, oh, you were gone for 11 days. I'm just like, no, that can't be. She's like, no, you were gone for 11 days. I'm like, no, it had to be 11 minutes. And she's like, no, it was 11 days. I promise you, it was 11 days. I'm just like, wow, this is weird. And we are talking, and she tells me why I'm there, because I have all those questions. I want to know, why am I there? Are you sure? Nothing, you guys are very suspicious right now. I feel like they were also suspicious. They look suspicious to me. I'm very much observant. I pay attention to details, and then I remember this guy who was actually gay, and it was very obvious. It's just like it was basically like flowing from everywhere within him. He such a nice guy. And at the time I couldn't eat, and he was super helpful. He was just like, I'm gonna be your nurse for tonight. And actually there was that other nurse that came and didn't like that. So as I was picking things up, he didn't like the fact that he was gay, and I'm just like, are we still in a movie? And he was super mean to my nurse, which was again really really nice guy. If I remember it well, he had like blonde hair, beautiful man, very nice, very clean, beautiful. He was so nice to me, and he always speaks very close to me. And I remember this time he had pizza, and I'm smelling his mouth. I'm just like, oh my goodness, he smells like pizza. And he's like, oh yeah, I had pizza. I'm just like, can I have some of that pizza? He's like, oh, I'm sorry, you cannot have food, anything like right now. You have to be on fluid for the whole night. I'm just like, I am so hungry. I was so hungry. I felt so terribly for him, because he had a beautiful heart. And someone came. These are like scenes from the soap opera, okay? So this other guy came, and he was really, really mean to him. You could almost tell that he hated the fact that he wasn't like him, or what he thought he was, because I could sense that he had a little bit of that within him, that expression of, maybe loving the same sex as him. But maybe it was kind of like, it felt like a part of him that he was avoiding, that was being expressed through this guy. This guy was actually able to express something that he refused to express. So he was being constantly mean to this guy. He kept coming to our room, and he kept being mean to him, when it seemed like he didn't even know what to do. He didn't know how to manipulate those machineries, and the other guy with the beautiful blonde hair knew what to do and could help him, but yet he wouldn't. He was just like, oh, I'm gonna call somebody else. Don't try to help me. And he always wanted to help, and he never felt mistreated. And I was watching it like it was a movie scene. Like, how can you not feel mistreated? This guy is literally, he's not, can you, like, you're not aware of him mistreating you? Almost felt like that was his life. He was just used to being treated that way, and he had accepted it as his reality, and that was what it was. And yeah, but I was starting to get really hungry, but they were not going to give me any food. So my husband was not trying to have me die. He was not trying to have me kill or die or whatever. My husband loves me. He adores me. He's always been there for me. He's been there for me all through this. He was very, very committed to this whole thing. I just felt like he was just made for me. Basically, he was made to make sure this will be like a smooth ride. For me, it's as if he came here on planet Earth just to make sure, I wouldn't suffer as much, so much, because he's been so committed to get me to a better place. He's been so committed to help me heal. He's been open to whatever I wanted to do or whatever I wanted to express while going through this long, painful process. He will never want to hurt me. I feel like whatever we're doing here is really it's a movie. It's a movie. It's as if we just sign up to be in this movie, and in this movie we all main characters. We all have like big roles, and we don't even realize that we are all very important, and we don't realize how important we are. We just let things, take over us, let things hurt us and breakers, and we start believing that we are less than nothing when we are actually absolutely everything that's beautiful. To me, I'm still feeling like it's a long process, it's a recovering process, and I'm always happy to share my story. So please like, comment, and of course, I'll see you next time for another of my stories. You're making this all possible because I have to have people wanting to watch me, to show up, to share this. And I hope that it resonates with a lot of you. And if you are actually clicking here and you're watching this, it resonates with you. So it means that this is something you need to hear or you need to listen to, to understand that there's so much more in this life. There is, sometimes we think, oh, there's nothing. I don't even understand this life. I don't get this. I am depressed. I am, and I have gone through all those paths. So nothing I'll ever say here be to make fun of anyone or to put anyone down or to break someone I know, because I feel like every time I see someone or I speak to someone and they tell me, oh, I've gone through this, and I'm just like, yeah, I've gone through that too. That's crazy, right? I've, like even the weirdest thing, the craziest thing, things that you don't imagine that the next person sitting or the person sitting next to you could have gone through. I have gone through it. So I always meet people and they tell me their stories, and I'm just like, oh, I experienced that. I know how it feels. I know how painful that can be. I know how that could feel good or there's always, it could not look the same or it cannot be exactly the same, but it's always almost the same. So we experience a lot of the same things. And like I said, this is all a movie and we are all main characters. Do never ever underestimate the power of the light within you.